Okay, someone was removed from the recording. Amazing. All right, guys, you're welcome. So let's start with OOP. Today we begin with OOP. So I'm going to make it a very big one. So OOP, so we call it objects oriented programming, something like that. So there's not much. Just want to check if this is correct. It is now, right? Okay, so let me make this a little bit bold and so make it let's say 3. And one of the way we call it is what we define as OOP. Understand? Call it OOP, right? So it's not hard. OOP is just it's so we're going to do. We are not going to do the that much coding stuff. It's just going to give you the basic foundation of what it represents. So we've done function already, and from function that we have done, please permit me if I'm not up to audible. Okay, so for function, we would OOP is just like we have seen a lot. Like it's a class. We call it a class anyway. Call it a class. So we've seen a class like int, class like string, class like what's it called? Floats and the rest. So all these things are class, and in that class we have things that we call them attributes and methods. Attributes are properties that belongs to an entity. Methods are functionalities that occurs to that um, entity. For example, human being. A human being has a name. A human being can have gender. You get the idea. So we can say we have class human being. Now, any human being you give birth to should have a name, should have a gender. So if you give birth to a baby boy, they'll ask you, if you give birth to a baby, right? If your woman gives birth to put to bed, they'll say, is it a boy, a girl? So it's a boy, hey, bouncy baby boy. It's a girl, hey, bouncy baby girl. So it means that the first thing is you have a gender. And the next thing we say, what is the name? Oh, since it's a girl, it should be Tracy. Since it's a boy, it should be Emmanuel. You understand? Then the next thing is this. When I say, okay, 6 months is coming, you see people say, you don't sit down. You don't sit down. That's to tell you that there's a functionality for a human. That's an attitude or a kind of like something that a human should do, which is sit down. You don't stand. Oh, when me say um there's a functionality for human being to stand and to walk. So all those functionalities they are called methods, but the gender and the name are called attributes. So I'll code it like this. So we're going to call something like this class. So let me connect first. Okay. So I'm going to say class. Now, one thing you should know is that when we are naming it, when we want to, like the way you are defining a def, you define that function. If you want to do class, it's called a class. Now, a class will always start with a capital letter. That's the tradition of an OOP in Python. Class starts with capital letter. So that's how you usually know that it's a class. So we say a class human, and then definitely we start with a semicolon, our column. Now, for every class or object you are going to call, so most of them must have they must have an attribute, something that you are going to use to call it. Some do have, some don't have, but it's you always see that they have an attribute. And what we use to store attribute is a function called init. So it comes like this. So you say def underscore underscore init underscore underscore we open bracket. Now, when you open your bracket, every function, let me use that word, which is a method in a class, starts with something called self. They must have the beginning must be self. What do you use self for? Self is an attribute or is a mechanism in Python or in OOP that allows you to access a variable or a value you have declared in within that class in different functions. So with self method or with set keyword, you can access any variable you are creating or you have created in different uh, function or method as it is. So we always have self, and then the next thing we want to do is that the baby must have a name, the baby must have a gender. Great. So we now come here and say self dot name. So self dot name, what we are doing here is that we are declaring a variable, just the same way we do a function. You understand? In the function, when I say name is equals to name, let me do that. Let me do that quickly. So we can do a function like this, def. Let's follow me. You can say def baby, def baby. Then we say the baby should have a name, or let's say def human, right? And say we do human have a name, and then we have a gender. We can do something like this. When I come here and say name is equal to the name you are going to enter, and gender, for example, is equal to the gender. So this is a parameter. This is a parameter that we are going to assign. So we are declaring inside this function, we said we are going to declare name. And this name we are declaring, we say it is equal to the parameter, is equal to the whatever we get in this, when we are calling the function. And gender is equal to what we get when we are also calling the function. Great. So we can do something like return, or we can say do something like print a string. The human name is, and then we do something like name, and gender is, and then we do gender, right? And do something like this. Great. And put that here and run this. So we can always come here to say we want to call the human. So we say human. So we're going to give the person, what is the person's name? The person's name is Ima. And then the gender is me, for example. So we run it. So once we run it like this, the only thing we're going to get is just that the human name is Ima and the gender is May. You get the idea. So this is it. This is just a simple function, but we cannot access the human name. What if we want to find what is the name of the human? If we come and say human dot, because we want to find the name, if we do human dot name, something like this, we'll get an error. It tells us that the function has no attribute name. So the function does not have an attribute called name. So you see, we get an error thrown to us. But we know that this function is working. So we can also create another function called def walk or sit. And then we'll say, okay, sit will take the baby's name. We should take the baby's name, and then we'll now say print, of course, the baby, baby something, maybe baby, whatever name, sitting down. All right, it's sitting down. So we can still run this. But so in this case, we know that Ima and May is there. But for us to do baby to call def, we just say sit and then write, let's write Elora. So once we print it, we say baby Elora is sitting down. But you see, all these things are just scattered. This one that we are creating is scattered. It's not related. It's not joining together. Because what I want to do is that if I create something called a human and I say the baby's name is Elora, for example, let's say Elora here. Now, the baby is Elora, and then the gender is female. There are only two gender in Nigeria. So I don't know. So you can say baby Elora. But what if I want to say um what do I want to how do I want to bring it now that it will not be hard for you guys? What if I want to say, okay, I want to use the baby's name. Like I want to say, okay, something like baby, or some I'll show you guys. So I'm just telling you that it's scattered. There's no way you can properly arrange it. But when you come to OOP allows you to arrange this thing very well and be able for you to call methods together, put them together to be able to achieve something. So like the one I'm trying to do now, human. So I say, okay, def is equals to name and gender. So I'm going to say self.name is equal to name. And then I'm going to do self.gender. So any variable I'm going to be creating inside a function or a method must have self dots. So this is what I want to do. Great. Now I want to create another function called def.sit. So sit we always take self because I said to you that every function or method must have self. So I'll do something like this. Print. I want you to print that baby, for example, baby self.name. So self.name, which is this one I've created in this first function. You see, that's what I told you that you use self for. Once you do self allows you to be able to carry a function, a variable you have created in a function or a method into another one. Because every function starts with a self. So self is like the connecting dot between two different functions. So self.name is sitting down. So anytime you see sit, it should print this thing for us. What if we want to do walking or standing? So I can do def walk or stand, and I also do self and come down and copy this. Oh, sorry, not the entire thing, just this line. Okay, so this line is what I need. Paste it here, and then the last one I want to do is self.walk is walk, so that we can know that the baby is actually walking. Great. So put that here, and I'll put walking or walk, and then we'll put walking. So here we'll put standing. So I'm going to take this down off. Sitting is okay. It's sitting, it's standing, and then it's walking. Right. Good. So this is perfect. So this is perfect. So this is a class already. This is what we call object oriented. So I've named four. Now this is different from what we did yesterday. What we did yesterday was that we had a lot of functions and then we now save it in a module. But we can also do this actually. We can also have a lot of functions like this in a class, save it in a package and still call it. You can do that. That one is modules. You can also, the same way you can import just function on its own, you can import class on its own. So that's just advanced programming, but it's simple. So when we are done with this, we can now run this. This is we have built an OOP. So by the time I come down here and do something like this, now, if you want to call a class, you have to create what we call an object. Now, imagine God. This is God, for example, creating human being. This is how he has created a human being. He has created a human being to have a name, created a human being to have gender. Then after he has created a human being to have those two, that's two things must be given to a human being, a name and a gender. Sure. Then God now say, okay, this human being should walk, should sit, should stand, should walk, and also should talk. Let's go back and do talk. Yes, talk. So the human being should talk too. God is not God that created deaf and dumb. Sorry. What that means is that if you have a deaf and dumb, you can easily work on them. So God not created deaf and dumb. So let's do that one as talking. Because Everything that has breath will praise God. So why am I saving this? Rather than running it? So great. So this is what God has created, for example. I want you guys to understand this very, very well. This is what God has created. Not that God has created this. Then, for all these things to function, those of us who are conversant with biblical explanation, for all of these things to function, we need a body. We need a body to put it inside. So let's take this thing as the spirit. Are we together? It has turned to preaching. Are you guys still here? So this is when you use spiritual stuff self to even understand something. So this is, let's say, this is the functionalities of what God has created. But for all these things to create, to work, to sit into manifestation, we need a body to put this thing inside. Now that body is what we call object. That is what we call an object. So in that place, we will not say, okay, we want an object. So what do we call this body now? Let's say body. We call it body. It can be anything, please. Oh, this is just a variable name. So body is equal to human, or let's say body one, or let's say this one is, let's call it Adam, for example. Let's say Adam. You understand? So I'll remove baby from here because I want to use Adam as this, for example. So let's just leave it as the name of the person. Great. So let's leave it here. So this is Adam. So Adam is a human, which is the class that we have created. Now Adam must have a name. So what should be the name? We have to pass it because he must have a name and a gender. So Adam should have something called, his name should be normally Adam because we have said it's Adam. Great. And then the gender should be me. Or let's name this one man. Fine. Let's name it man. So man, the name of the man is Adam, and then the gender is female. Great. We'll run this. Now, once we run it, we have already built a human being. We have already built a human being. And that human being now have all the functionalities of all of these things. It can sit, it can stand, it can walk, it can talk. How do we prove it? Let's go to our next code. What if we want to just know what is the name of this human being? Now, a name in this place, name is an attribute because name is not something you are doing. It's something that was given to you. So anything that was given to an object, it's called an attribute. But anything that an object is doing, performing, is called a method. So how do you know the difference between a method and an object? Or a method and an attribute? An attribute does not require you to come. This I can call an attribute. We can say, what is the name of this man? So print, we want to print man dot name. So when we say print man dot name, you see it's telling us that it's Adam. But we want to print also the gender. Print man dot gender. Great. You see that it's telling us it's male. Now, but what if you want to say man is like man, the man is sitting down? How do we now do it? Then we'll now call the functionality or the method called sit. Because it's inside that man. There's a function called sit inside that man. So we want to call it up. So how do we do it? You can do something like this. Man dot sit. But because sit was not given to it, sit is a function. You understand? It's a function. So it's a method. We have to now call it like this. Now we'll call it like this because still it does not have any variable inside. It's just self. Meaning we didn't pass any attribute inside that sitting. You get the idea? So we can just run it. So once we run it, see what it's saying? Adam is sitting. At this junction, I want to know that you are with me. Adam is sitting. So you get it? So Adam is sitting. Why? This is what we called it. We say anytime you call sit, just say that the self.name, which is the name of the human, is sitting. So we can go ahead and run a lot. We can say man dot walk. See how that is working. You can still say man dot stand. All the things we have created. So Adam is standing, and then man dot talk. So Adam is talking. Now that we have created man, we can still go forward and create another human being. Can go forward and say, okay, we have done creating man. Let's create woman. We say woman. Because we are creating woman from scratch again. Woman is a body we want to put something inside. So we'll go back and call human. That's our class again. Because we want to build a new, human being. So we'll come and say Eve, and Eve is female. Great. So we have built something called woman. Remember, if I do something like this, woman dot name, for example, and I now put this thing, it will give me an error. See what it's telling me? It's not, the object is not callable because name was not declared as a property, as a function. It's an attribute. So that's why we'll have if. So each time I say print the woman's name to tell me that the woman's name is Eve. Same also print the woman dot the gender. So it's going to tell me that it's a female, and we can see say woman dot seat. No, this is an object. Then you can also say woman dot stand. Okay. All right. So woman dot stand, and lastly we can say woman dot walk. Okay, not lastly, second to the last. And then this is lastly. Now we can say woman dot talk. Great. So I want to unmute your mic now. Let me clear that everybody understands this thing very well. So is this clear? Because I don't want yesterday's repetition. So is this clear? I want to be sure.
Yes,
If
sir,
it's not
it's
clear, raise up
clear.
your hand.
Very clear,
Oh,
sir.
just,
Very clear.
well, very clear,
Huh?
sir. We must. It's clear, sir.
Okay. So that is how OOP looks like. It's just that you are building a template and then you are putting it inside a body. Now you use the dots. Another thing I did not explain, maybe these dots. You use dots to call, it's like a fetcher to fetch the things inside. People should not allow me start quoting scripture. The thing inside the belly, inside the innermost being. You understand that dot, that connection. So let's take that as the dot is the spirit, something you're using to connect to the spirit to draw out an attitude out. So that's the dot. You use dots to call out a method or to call um, a function. So imagine a list. So imagine a list that we have been doing. I will do something like this. My list dot sort. So somebody should know now that this dot sort we are doing is a function or a method inside a class called list, something attached to list. Is a function inside it. That's what we can call it. So if you go and do in tuple, tuple does not have sort because when they were building tuple, they did not put sort, they did not put append, they did not put all those ways to assess to change the value inside. They did not do those things inside. So you see, just the same way every mammal is different from each other. Dog is different from a goat is different from this. Same also, data structures are different. The blueprint they use in building that class is different. Now, this is the logic behind programming. So the more you go, you begin to understand that this is the concept behind programming, and then it becomes so easy. So let's do another example. So I'm going to do another example. So let me say, let's call this one banking system. So I'm just going to do banking system, OOP. I'm trying to keep my head cool so that I don't do what happened yesterday. Yesterday, I actually forgot what I was coding. Serious. Immediately we left that class, I just went to hit the bed. Okay, so let's do bank. So I'm going to start this one. I'm going to say a class, and I'm going to call it banking. You see, I'm starting with capital letter for the banking, and then I'm going to come down and say, okay, a class for a bank. I want the person to have a name, and then the person should also have an account balance. So I'll do some. Now I'm going to teach two things here. I'm going to teach a class, and I'm going to teach a concept called polymorphism. I'm going to teach a concept called polymorphism here. And then when I'm done with this, I will do another one, and then I'm going to teach what we call inheritance. I'll create another one, and I'll teach inheritance. And then when I teach inheritance, that should be the end of the class. So I know that I've poured everything I need to pour out to you guys. And then we'll now do the part B of the class, which is where I'm really expecting. So everybody stick around. So let's start with our def, because we said everybody must have in it. Anybody creating in it creates. So anybody creating this account must have. So we start with itself. A class must see OP is something that you take your time to learn. Don't just kill yourself. Yeah, took me time to learn it also. Especially when you want to do data analysis or data science, you don't majorly use OOP for some stuff. So it still doesn't matter like that. But it's very important. So we have a safe, and then we'll need a name, and then we need an account. Let's call it balance. We need balance, for example. You understand? We need balance. So we'll say safe. You could see that we have our indentation. So safe.name is name. And then safe.account or safe.balance, let's leave it that way, is equal to the balance that the person will enter. Now that's awesome. So having done that, let's say what are the other things people do in with a bank. So for what is in my head, I think people deposit, right? People deposit. And another thing is that people withdraw. Let's just make it simple. And then another thing I could think of is that people check their balance. So people check balance. That's what people do. So all these things are functions that we can actually create. So these are functions that we cannot create. That people check balance, people do withdraw. We can even say people do transfer, and then we can say okay for transfer and all of that. So I've written deposit already. So to deposit, we can come down and say def deposits. And if you want to deposit, we must start with safe, which is, I told you, safe is very important. It starts all the method in the class. So if you want to deposit, you have an attribute called an amount. You need money. You need an amount that you want to deposit. What amount do you want to deposit? So it's going to be safe.name, safe.balance, right? It's going to be safe again. It's going to be safe.balance, right? Plus the amount that you are depositing, right? So amount. So it's going to be safe. We're going to write safe.amount. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So it must be safe.amount. So we can come at here. We can come back here and say amount. Amount is equal to, we're going to say safe.amount is equal to amount. That's the money they're going to enter, right? I think that's the right way to spell this amount, or I might be one spelling it wrong. Am I spelling it wrongly? I'm just thinking. Okay, so, but I have an issue with this line. This is more like a tautology. Safe.balance is equal to safe.balance. So, a short way, it's safe.balance plus equal to safe.amount. So this is the short way. This is the short way for this. Now, the reason is because it repeats itself. So when you have, it's just the local increment operator. When you have a variable You understand? As yeah, and you also have it here to add to something. The short way now, this one, I beg. That's the best way I can explain it. So if it was, what if it was minus? They were minusing like this. I'll put minus here. If what if not divide? If they divide, I'll put divide here. So it's just the flow. Even at times I'll put times like that. So it's just the flow. So let me leave it this way, and then I'm going to take this one off. I don't need this anymore. Ah, come here. No, take off. Not going to take off. All right, great. So this is how I'm going to leave it. So when we are done, I think we should print. Let's just print something out and say that new balance or new account, or let's make it interactive. Let's say I, and then we're going to write self.name, and then we're going to say that I self.name. Next line. Let's go to next line and say your new. Uh, let's say your account balance has been credited, with the amount, right? Also, I'm going to write self.amount here, self.amount. I just feel like I'm not spelling the amount where this is how to spell an amount. Okay, no, this is it. Self.amount, and then I want to go to the next line, and I want to go and say new account balance. Just follow me because I know it's long. New account balance is this, and then I'm going to write self dot balance. Gets it. All right, great. So this is what I want to do. It's a very big long one. So I to the person's name, hi, the person's name, and then next line. This /n means next line. So when you go to the next line, I want to write your account balance has been credited with the amount. And then I want to go to a next line again. I write that your new account balance, and then I write the new account balance. So that's what I want to do. So the next thing I want to do is def. Are we together? Let me hear a response. Sometimes when I hear your voice, I know that we are together. If you are lost, tell me now. Your mic is unmuted. I can't
We
explain
just
myself.
we just send this recording or the notes finish,
Network issues.
but it's
There's
okay.
no way frame me. You just need record. There's no recording. There's no
No,
notes.
no, no, no. What I mean is we are getting it very well, but there's this thing we always need a second review. If not, after tonight, as you are doing it now, you are following. No, but if we don't go back to these notes, so the truth is, now disappear, go
Yeah,
disappear.
absolutely right.
What's
But
in?
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah.
Wala,
So
be
go
like
ahead,
my
we are
thing.
getting it. We will
All right,
study to
I'm
understand
going
more.
ahead. Let me write down. I'll write down. Like today, class sweet past yesterday. Because yesterday,
Yeah,
by
yeah,
this
yeah.
Yes,
Yesterday
yes,
time,
yes.
almost the end. I sleep, come out, and all that. You are never come with attendance again.
yes,
It dey happen,
yesterday,
it dey happen.
no, wahala. Yesterday, people almost cry. Let's go on. Let's go on. All right. Okay. That's why I said I'm trying. I'm just doing my best to be calm and teach. Because yesterday, when I was yesterday, my brother, I wish they would tell you guys what we suffer to come and teach here every day. Ah, you guys don't believe it. To come and teach. When I'm done with this, you know how many projects I have, you know how many students I have to teach. Some of them are even paid, like paid, well paid. But you still have to come here and do this one for free, and then you still go back and go and be cracking your headache for other people. So it's not easy. All right, let's move ahead. So the next thing we're gonna do withdrawal. Let's just call it withdrawal. You understand? So let's say def withdrawal. Then it's going to take self again, and then what we want to withdraw, we still need to withdraw an amount. You understand? We still need to withdraw an amount. So you should pass an amount that you want to withdraw. So let's just call that an amount again. But another thing we have to do is that even if let's just do self dot amount, you understand, and then we say it's equal to amount that the person is going to give us. But the next thing is that we have to check what if the money you want to withdraw, you know, Benin people, the money you want to withdraw is not equivalent to the one in your account balance. So we have to not check. So we have to say if your self dot, the amount that you want to withdraw, self dot amount, if self dot amount, right, is lesser than your self dot balance. Meaning if the money you want to withdraw, is lesser than your self balance, we now say okay, fine. Your our self dot balance should be plus minus equal to, you understand, self dot amount. Now the money that you're withdrawing is just an opposite of deposit, right? And then we can then now when we are done with this, we can then now print that something like transaction successful. So we can still make it interactive by doing this, by going back and say, okay, IG transaction. Hey, this is my laptop. Allows me to put emoji. Smile. Where is this one? This one they allow me to put emoji now. Wait, come, smile. I don't see this one they allow me to put emoji. Before I did, it did come out as emoji before. What is it happening? Windows and their big head. Okay, let me just leave that like that. Let me just put this smile there. Understand? So that transaction successful. We cannot do this thing that your then we can do new balance. Let's just do new balance. It's new account balance. You understand? I'm going to copy this part. So the person knows that the transaction is successful, and then the person is going to see his new account balance, for example. Okay, great. So that is that. If that is not correct, we'll come with an S statement, and you know what the S statement will be now. We know that S statement now. Print waiting. Wait will print. You understand now? I know you guys are dropping messages on the chat too. I guess so. Yeah, great. So it will not be S insufficient funds. So let me do sad. Because I don't see this in the whole. It's going to happen here. So why this work will not going to work? I slap this thing. Is that what I'm looking for? So I like it. The emoji they suit me sometimes. Okay, great. So successful, blah 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 blah. All right. Then the last thing we'll do, check balance. So check balance is not hard. We just do def get underscore balance. You understand? Get the balance of the person, and then we just write save. And this we just print. Let's just print. Let's just print. What's it called? Let's just print save dot balance. So that's what we want. That's what we want from here. Just give us save dot balance. Bring the balance out. That's what we want. So we can make it formula and say that your account balance is no right. So make it this way. Put calculator here. So I want to do I. No, I don't want that one. No. All right, great. I think I like this one. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to say hello self.name. Then I'm going to paste this here, and I'm going to say next line. No. Right. So let's be putting emojis to make it look fun for us. Okay, great. So I think this is all that we need to do on banking. We've done deposit, withdraw, and then we've also done setup balance. Great. So let's run this one now. So which person's account are we going to create? So let's call this one. So we need a body now, you understand, to put these things inside. So let's call this one customer. Let's just call it customer. Customer. So let's call it customer one. Customer one is equal to our banking. So what's the name of our customer? The name of our customer it's Collins. And then how much is the account the balance for Collins now? How much does Collins want to use to start his account? So Collins should start his account with 1,000 naira, for example, and then we run it. So we have built our customer one. So we can come back and say, okay, we want to get Collins. What is Collins customer's name? So we just say customer. You see, customer one dot the name. So because it's an attribute, it belongs to it. So we say his name is Collins. So we can always print it. This is the best practice to always use print. On my notebook, sometimes it can be very can make you lazy. So print and then write what about the amount. We can do something like it can only be customer, but this is an issue. This thing I want to show you guys now is an issue. Customer dot. We can only say balance, but this is wrong for us to be saying balance because I'm going to get an error. So customer one. So it's going to be giving us the balance, but it's wrong to be doing this. Let's check. So that's where it will lead me to what they call polymorphism, where we can hide details, hide some stuff because it's not necessary. We don't need it. It's when at the time of creation, that's when we need that attribute. But after that time, we don't need it to be anywhere again. Except you can use it inside. Oh, please, sweet, not be clear. So we can do something like Collins. Customer. We'll finish this thing when this customer comes too long. Customer dot let's deposit. So if we deposit, how much should we deposit? Let's deposit. Let's deposit 200 naira, for example, around. So we're going to get I Collins, your account balance has been credited with 200 and your new account balance is 12. So great. So if we come back here and do Collins, so gosh. So let me copy this and paste here. If we come back here and do customer dot get underscore balance. So we see that it's telling us that I Collins, the emoji is here now, your account balance is 12. But my issue here is that if we do something like this, customer dot balance and run it, it's still repeating each other. It's giving us 12. So it means it looks like this function is not needed. But what if we actually need this thing? We want it to be called because balance is not. It should not be somebody's property. It should just be at least something you are doing. An account should do. An account should get balance. You understand? So we can. That's what I'll show you guys shortly how we can hide this thing. It's just for me to recopy all of them. So we can also do customer dot deposit or withdraw. let's withdraw. Let's say we want to withdraw 1,500, for example, and run it. So we see insufficient funds. So we can say insufficient funds. You cannot run. So you can see my emojis are coming. I like it. So let's now do customer dots. Let me just copy this, paste it here, and say customer dot withdraw. Let's withdraw 500, for example, and run it. So you see what it's going to say. Hi, colleagues, transaction successful. Your new balance is now 700. So let's come back here and always get balance. So let's get balance. So you say, hi, colleagues, your account balance is 700. So this is great. This is actually working. It's working. It's working. So, but I want to show you guys. So I want to block that balance from coming up. I just want it to be only this thing. So I'm going to write polymorphy. Can I spell it again? Polymorphism, something like that. Yeah, let me just call it polymorphism. Yeah, something like this. So what do I need to do in polymorphism? I need to block. I don't want to make this accessible, this balance accessible. So I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do underscore. That's what I need to do. Once I do underscore, you cannot access balance again directly by itself. So I'm going to paste it here. So I'm just going to replace all the place where I called balance and put it. Yeah, I think there's a shortcut to be able to do that one. So I've not been able to find that shortcut, I swear. So just put it here. So anyway, you see balance, do underscore balance. Somebody somewhere just thinking that this guy no coding. How you think they learn now? Is that share somebody think that kind of thing? It just come to me and say somebody they think that and say this boy too no coding. How you think they learn now? How you think they do? And somebody's prayer is God. Make I learn and do it yourself. If I feel no code the way you know, at the rest, till they find for life. Somebody just think that now. It just came to me. So yeah, fine. So let me run this one. So I've run it. So I just put underscore. So let's go back and do customer 2 now. So let's go back and say customer. So I'm going to do cost 2, for example, or cost 2. And I'm going to say cost 2 is equals to, let's call a new banking. I'm going to use a lady's name now. I'm going to say Grace. And I'll say Grace account is, let's say Grace started with 5,000. And then I'm going to run it. Now you see what will happen. See, if I say customer 2, now this cost 2 is more like an ID also, you understand? If I say cost 2 dot name, let me print it. Let me print it. You see, it's going to print Grace. But if I come back here and do print, for example, cost 2, and I want to go and do that dot. So because it's balanced now, the way I wrote balance, I want to now do dash balance. See what will happen to throw me an error. Banking object has no attributes balance. So with this underscore, I've hidden. I don't want this balance to be coming up again. I don't want the way somebody was assessing it. Yeah. I don't want them to assess it again. That's polymorphism. You are removing some stuff that should not be on the open. So the only way you can get the balance if you come back and do cost 2 dots get balance. It's only when you do get balance you can only get the balance. So I Grace, your balance is 5,000. That is the only way you can get the balance. So that's the idea of this polymorphism there, is to hide objects so that sometimes it's possible that an attribute, though it's an attribute, it must be a method. So I don't want people to be assessing it. So what I can still do that. I don't want people to assess. If you don't want people to assess anything, but you want it to be operational within the class, because you can see it's functioning here. Look at balance; it's functioning, and it's even returning, something, returning results. And I can even use it to add and do a lot of stuff, but you can't access it directly. You have to follow a method to access it. That's the idea of polymorphism. Do I still have strength for another one? Uh, let me. I don't tire. Let me open your mic. Alpha, I now understand this one. Me? Your mics are now muted, so you can.
Yes, sir. We understand it.
Okay. This one say, please continue. What's meeting them being? Please continue. Come help me. Ah, I remember somebody I saw. One of us here. I saw that person one day like that. Person bought me two good cool monster, and I got the message clearly. I just say, boss, take the get strength they can't teach. And the message just declare. So it's awesome. All right, let me teach you guys inheritance, and I'll call it a day, and then we'll do another thing because we are getting close to the end of the class. I swear that must I touch my soul. That must have touched me. Two and give me up. Say one not day enough. Okay, let's do inheritance. But for us to do inheritance, I want to do another class. So let me say uh class vehicle. Let me call this one vehicle, and it's not hard. This is not hard. Inheritance. So vehicle and inheritance. Let me call it that one. Let me call it this way. Um, then just do 1, 2, 3. So this is vehicle and inheritance. Great. So I want to create a class called vehicle first of all, and then I want to do something called car. Yeah, car inheritance. This is a simple way of learning inheritance. So let's say we have a class called vehicle. You could see that I already start with. Now in that vehicle, I have def plus call. So in it's not hard for you guys anymore. So it has to start with a self, and then that's every car must have a brand. Let's see what is the brand, and every car must have a after a brand a model. Let's just call it a model. Great. So what's the brand and what's the model? So when I say self dot, maybe self dot brand, right? Is equal to our brand. Then if your network is easy play today, then people sit down on top of that network because today is this is the most appearing topic. After today, I'll do bidding with that tomorrow. You guys is doing project after now. Okay, we can do that one later. This color, please just hold on to that color. Great, hold on to that color. So I'll use color for inheritance. So brand, let's say model should be model, right? So let's just give it one function to say, okay, every vehicle. What's one thing that every vehicle must do? Every vehicle must have an on. Every vehicle must have an on. So let's just say on. Every vehicle must on. So let's say, except those people when they on lights, they do come on for road, come on for road. That's Nigeria problem. So we can say print that's our self, our how do I say it? Um, uh, wait. So I want to say copy that our uh, car. Let's just say self dot model. Let's just model. Let's put that here. It's on. So on it looks like lights or sound. Yeah, it looks like sound. Great. So I'm going to cut this one. Say put it there. The on. Right. This is amazing. I don't need this car. This thing again. Car. Blah 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 is on. So this is, this is simple stuff that you guys already know. So if I come back here and say, let's create a car. Let's create a vehicle. Let's just call it vehicle. So equal to vehicle, right? And then you open a bracket and say the car is Lexus, for example, and the model is let's say IS 250, IS 250, right? And then let's come back and let's say, okay, want to print the vehicle dot name. So once we do that, am I getting error? Sorry, not name. Vehicle dot brand. Sorry. So once we do that, so the brand is Lexus. You can also say you want to print the vehicle as vec dot. What's the model? So you can see the model is IS 250. Okay, what if we want to know if it's on? So we can say vehicle dot on. Understand? You already know all of this already, so that's all. So we can get that car Lexus stone race is on thereabouts. I have this pen. I'll do something like that. So, but what if we want to do inheritance? This is where inheritance come in play. This is where inheritance come in play. For people start to sleep. Don't sleep. Oh, this other part is very important to. Don't say I not tell you the last part, because I'm going to finish this thing and then the next 10 minutes we'll to do the last part. So inheritance. Now I want to create a class called car. So I want to create a class called car, and this car now should not have something like should have a color, should have what other thing should I give the car? Okay, if you have a color, great. Okay, let me just say color and maybe model year, maybe the year it was made or something like that. So I'll do something like this class. I'll say car. Now I want to tire. Great. I want to inherit properties from this thing, from the vehicle. So because I want to inherit properties from the vehicle, this time around I'm not going to do something like this and I'll come down. No, I'll come back here and write the class that I'm going to inherit something from. So I want to inherit from vehicle, then I'll come back here and write def underscore init underscore, and then I'll come over here and start my step. Definitely is going to have a brand, it's going to have a model, but then let's just leave it with color because of time. It's going to have color. Great. So I'll come back here, and here's where the inheritance come in play. Under my place, this place, I write super dot underscore init underscore. I'll open my bracket, and this super now is not telling me what do you want to inherit actually. What we want to inherit from this car is this. We want to inherit brand and model. That's what we need. So we now do super underscore init. Then we'll do self, and then I think we'll do brand, and then we'll do model. So that's what we want to inherit. Is that getting confusing, or are we still together? Oh, I think I'm even missing something, self. So I think I don't need to put self. I don't need to put self. I don't need to put self. Yeah, I just need to just do something like this, because it's like a keyword stuff that I'm calling. So I just need to do it this way, and then I'll put my dots here. So dots. So this is what I'm doing. What I'm saying is this: is that we are inheriting vehicle. Since we want to inherit vehicle, what are the models inside that? What are the the attributes inside that vehicle is brand and model. So fine, no problem. We have stated that car must have a brand and model, but we want to also inherit its properties from the vehicle. So that's why we are just doing super dot init brand and and the rest. So once we do that, the next thing we'll do is our self dot color, because there's no need for us to now be doing self dot brand, and no, we have already inherited that property. So we'll just put self dot color is equals to color. That's all we need to do. So now watch the magic. We can come here and say def and say, let's just say drive, for example, and put it self. Then we can come back here and say that print function here and say car. So I'm going to do something like this. Car. Then bracket, I'll do self dot model, or let's just do brand of color self dot color is driving, right? So we can say it's driving. So self dot brand self dot color is driving. So this is more like this class we created here, just that we now have this line. This is the only magic line here, super. So this is a super, and then open bracket, and we now have this class that we are generating inside. So it means that this is a superior class to car. All right. So when we are done with that, the next thing we will now do is to now operate it. Let's operate this car. Just a minute. Let me sip in what I beat. Okay, so to operate this car, we'll now come back here and say, okay, let's call this one motor, for example. I don't want to do car. Should I use car? Let me just use car is equal to car. So what should be the car? This one, let's just call it Toyota. Toyota. And what should be the model? The model should be a Camry. What should be the color? Let's give it blue. You understand? So that is we calling all of this stuff inside this class. Great. So we can run this. What am I getting? Car is not defined. Oh, I've not run this. Sorry. Okay, great. So I can run this one now. Great. So the next thing we can from here now we can do car dot brand. See magic where magic will come. Car dot brand will still give us Toyota, which is normally what we should get. Then the next thing we can do, we can also say car dot the rest, car dot color. What is car dot color? It's blue. Okay. The next thing, what is car dot model? Is Camry. And then because this properties now, this drive is under car. So we can come back here and say car dot drive. And then if you tell us that car Toyota, sorry, I should have given space here. So let me rerun this again, and then we run this again. So to tell us that car Toyota of color blue is driving. Now, what is the inheritance here? Look at the inheritance now. The inheritance here is that this we'll write for here. It was not part of this class called car. It was part of this vehicle class. But because our car, when we declare the class, we say make it inherit vehicle. So what will now happen is that we can call that on function, this on method, by attaching it to our car. So look at it. If I do something like this, car.on, and I run a see, Camry is on. So it means that this car, when we create on its own, when we say not get def, we not get on, say I not get on. So because we don't inherit the properties of a vehicle and we say that it is a super, meaning it's higher than this car. So all the method wey dey inside this vehicle, this car, go fit access am. All the method. If I come back here and put and say def stop and I write sef, I say print car sef dot brand, sef dot brand. Let me put my F here. Has stopped. Understand? Run a year. So I run a year. I come back to this my class. I run that my class because it must enter. So I can come back here and still come and say car dot stop. See, will tell me that what did you name it also? Stop, Nabi. So coming. Let me run this object. Okay, run this object. Run the object. So I can come here and say vehicle dot stop. Run it. So vehicle to class stop. Blah, blah, blah. So let's come back here. Run this my inheritance. Run this car here. Great. So if I come back and run car dot stop, so you see that car Toyota has stopped. So that's inheritance. Inheritance simply means that a class can carry the properties of another, the functionalities of another class, of a superclass. That's inheritance. We did inherit. So it means that class not children, not child to the vehicle class. I know at this junction, I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you. That's why I left inheritance for the last. All right, so your mics are muted. But let's go to the last part because I have 10 minutes to do this. So this is the end of the class. And yeah, does anybody have any question before we go to the next section? Your mics are muted, guys. You can ask a question.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for today's class.
I can't hear you. If you are speaking, your sound is low.
You did well. All we just need to study, go back to this book and recap. Personally, network has been on my toe today. Like I said, there's stuff from my village come today. But thank you very much. On my end, no question. It's understood, and I'll still try and study more on it.
All right.
Like
Great. So any other person?
To me, I really like this method. I like this method. I'm beginning to see that there are different ways of doing things with pass-through and see achieving one kind of result, one result. So I just want to thank you, Mr. Gift, for all these your tutorials. May God bless you. Hope we'll get this material at the ending of the week.
That one. Maybe this one is the time you. I don't know. Don't worry. Let the week end first. Maybe the end of the week say it might not be materials. Maybe you just do it yourself. Don't worry. Let the week end. Week never ends. But thank you for your prayers, anyways. Anybody? You could see that this material now. Another thing I noticed say, it's untitled though. Now me right now, not heady for the come like. So it's just as simple as it is. So it's not hard there. So all right. So let me stop recording here. See if somebody has any question again.
Please, sir. And before the beginning of this program, I don't know, the other guy that came first said we should make a review about the phone we should feel. I don't understand about that.
Okay,
Please bring it back.
I'll speak to that. What he was saying